Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you're a focused learner tracking government exams, you already know that massive, ground-up structural shifts don't happen very often. But when they do, they literally change the entire landscape of your prep. So today, we are taking a really close look at the sweeping changes just announced by the MPSC, the Maharashtra Public Service Commission. Starting in 2027, the state services examination is getting a complete transformation. We're going to break down exactly what's changing, why they're doing it, and how the new evaluation structure actually works, giving you the clearest roadmap possible.
So here's our roadmap for today. Think of it as tracing the new aspirant's journey. We'll start with the big picture of the 2027 MPSC overhaul, then look at how prelims are going completely digital. After that, we'll talk about the total scrapping of optional subjects in the mains, decode that final 1,525-mark evaluation, and finally, point out exactly which services are exempt.
All right, Part 1. The 2027 MPSC Overhaul, a new era for aspirants.
Right off the bat, we're seeing a massive split in testing philosophy. On one hand, the preliminary exams are finally moving into the modern age. They're going to be online, computer-based tests, and get this, they'll happen multiple times a year. Contrast that with the mains, which stays firmly traditional. The mains will remain an offline, written exam, and it's still going to happen just once a year. So the Commission is essentially building a fast, digital, high-frequency initial screening process that feeds directly into a very deliberate, single, traditional written evaluation at the end.
Moving on to Stage 1 of your actual journey. Part 2, prelims go completely digital, which means faster and more frequent.
So let's define what this actually means. Computer-based tests, or CBT. Basically, we are waving goodbye to the old pen and paper OMR sheets and swapping them for a fully online format. And honestly, why is the MPSC making this leap? Well, it's brilliant problem-solution logic. Moving to CBT directly solves that historical bottleneck of painfully slow result processing. It's going to significantly speed up the results. Plus, digitizing the whole thing inherently boosts fairness and brings a lot more transparency to the system, which is a massive win for everyone.
And this upgrade isn't just for the state services. The MPSP plans to use this online format for major prelims across the board, state services, Group B and Group C exams. But here's the absolute game changer for you guys, that last bullet point. These online prelims are planned to happen 2 or more times per year. Honestly, wow, that gives you so many more opportunities. You're no longer risking an entire year's worth of blood, sweat, and tears on one single testing day.
Okay, let's talk about Stage 2. Part 3. Mains. Optional subjects scrapped. The new core. All right, brace yourselves, because here is the biggest shockwave of this whole announcement. Optional subjects have been completely scrapped from the state services main exam, starting in 2027. Literally gone. For decades, agonizing over the right optional subject was a massive strategic decision, right? Well, that era is officially over. By eliminating optionals entirely, everyone is now going to take the exact same core compulsory papers. It's a total leveling of the playing field, making sure every single candidate is judged against the exact same academic criteria. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the new 7-paper structure breaks down. Up top, you've got the qualifying category. These are your language papers, Marathi and English. They're worth 300 marks each, and you just need 25% to pass. But the crucial detail? They are excluded from merit. You have to pass them to stay in the game, sure, but they won't boost your final rank. The real battleground is right below that, the merit category. This is 4 general studies papers at 250 marks each, plus 1 essay paper, which you can write in Marathi or English, also worth 250 marks. Every single point you earn here counts directly towards your final ranking.
So, let's do the math on that. Part 4. Decoding the final 1,525 marks. The math of success.
1,250, that is the absolute maximum score you can get from the written mains. Remember those 5 merit papers we just talked about, the 4 GS papers and the essay? All of them are 250 marks each. 5 times 250 gets you right to 1,250. This is the absolute bulk of your evaluation right here. Then we have 275. If your written score is strong enough, you advance to the final stage, which is the interview. That interview carries a very critical 275 marks. This is where the commission sits down and directly evaluates your personality, your analytical skills, and how well you keep your composure. And this brilliantly illustrates our grand total, 1,525. Take your 1,250 possible written marks, add the 275 interview marks, and you get an evaluation out of 1,525. That single number is the whole shebang.
It completely dictates the final merit list and decides who actually secures a spot in the state services. But wait, does this apply to everyone? Let's pivot the narrative sharply right here, because in government exams, you know there are always exceptions. It is absolutely vital to figure out if these sweeping changes to state services, Group A and Group B, actually affect the specific career track you are personally pursuing.
Which brings us to Part 5. Which services are exempt? The exceptions to the rule.
Okay, take a quick scan of this list. Are you targeting the Maharashtra Forest Service? What about civil and electrical engineering or agriculture services? Maybe you're aiming for the Food and Drug Administration, veterinary services, or you want to be an inspector of legal metrology. If your chosen path is on here, take a breath, you are completely exempt from the 2027 overhaul we just went through. Your specific services will stick with their existing exam schemes, which means optional subjects remain entirely relevant for you. Business as usual.
So, that leaves us with one final very important question to wrap up today's explainer. How does this 2027 shift impact your study timeline right now, today? Look, the MPSC has given everyone a pretty decent runway to adjust, but time flies. If you're going for state services, you really need to seriously evaluate how much energy you're pouring into an optional subject that literally won't exist in a few years, versus doubling down on general studies and your essay writing. On the flip side, if you're aiming for those exempt engineering or agricultural tracks, keep pushing forward with confidence, knowing your path hasn't changed. Adapt your strategy, focus on the right structure, and you're going to be perfectly positioned for success. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.